Hi all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I'm back from my holiday in Thailand and it was a much needed week away. But let's get on with this second part of the sketchbook tour. Now if you haven't seen the first half, I do suggest you go and watch it. But if you don't want to, I'll just give you a quick overview of this sketchbook. It is an A5 Daler Rowney sketchbook and I've been using it to experiment with different styles of artwork and also just working on areas that I'm not quite as confident in. So I hope you like it. If you do, don't forget to give that thumbs up and also subscribe. I've had a couple of new subscribers, so thank you so much for joining the channel. Really do appreciate it. Now without further ado, let's get on with this second half, which is my more favourite half. This is end of December. I was starting to feel pretty burnt out at this point, and that's why the next few pages there just aren't anything major. So you've got some faces. This one clearly ridiculously tired, just not bothering to try anything. This was a few days later, so I gave myself a week break from doing artwork and did this little landscape instead, and I was really pleased with this one actually. And this was the tribute to all the Australian fires that were happening. And this is another piece, again, just a bit too tired, a bit too worn out to actually try and focus too much on what I was doing here. This was yoga poses, because I actually do yoga quite a lot, so I thought I'd draw out the different poses, because why not? And this was a challenge by my partner Damien. He wanted a dragon hydra, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. Clearly I'm not very good at drawing dragons, but he really liked it, and it was fun to do. And this is another silly little one, and this is of my cat Hermione. Now she has a record for destroying headphones, especially my partner Damien's, so she's actually destroyed pretty much 6 of his at this point in time. Yeah, do not leave headphones lying around near her, she will eat them. It is quite funny. And then there's quite a bit, so again I'm not really doing too much across the beginning of January, just not feeling it, feeling too burnt out and stressed out from my old job, so I just wasn't trying that hard with any of these. Again, another kind of messing around page, nothing serious. It got to the point where I was so getting fed up with everything that I was doing that I even just stuck these in. These are from when I went to Bangkok the first time, and this was from the riverboat tour, and that was just some of the fruit that they had there that I did in watercolour while I was there. Again, trying out side profiles. I like this one, but I don't really like any of the other ones, but I did enjoy Posca pens. So this is where I started getting my feel for Posca pens back, because I just loved the way the metallic looked in here, and it didn't bleed through, which was great. Again, another day where I was just kind of more forcing myself to do art. Just some crystals, nothing major. And this was the sketch studies for the family portrait. That is a video if you're interested in seeing that. And this is the start of February, where everything starts getting better again. Just because this was the last day of my old job and I was feeling just so much happier at the thought of not going back. So yeah, I did this and I was already a lot happier with what I was doing. This is in the last video, or well, month in review. Again, that kind of more simple, more flowy, stress-free piece. This is while I was waiting to meet my dad at a train station. Just figured I would do some doodles. This one, honestly, so I covered something up and then I wasn't happy with it because I wasn't happy with what I'd done. So I covered it up and then I'm not happy with this one either. So I'm just going to call this one a bit of a fail of a page because it just wasn't working. Some little hand studies. You would have seen this one on Instagram. These little rat studies. So I did these both in the morning before work, which was amazing because I don't normally have time to do anything like that, where I didn't in my old job, and now I have time to actually get up, do some artwork in the morning, and then, you know, just to have a nice routine wake up. It's brilliant. So that's what I did in the morning. Really enjoyed these actually. I really like the colours of them all. And then the next day I did these in the morning before work. I decided not to use paint just because it would be quicker to use pencil, but I have to admit I much prefer landscapes in acrylic than in the colour pencil. But I think that's just because you can get more depth to them. This was also in the morning, the next day before work. I do a lot of dog portraits, so I figured I'd better practice some just simple line work of them. And then this was after work that same day. I really enjoyed this one. I really like the way this one came out, just the portrait of it all. This was the next day, morning before work. Really happy with these two portraits actually, and I like the colour of the orange and pinks together. And this was after work. So I still like them, but just not quite as much as the colours from this one. I think the other ones are a bit more dramatic. This was my day off and I really couldn't be bothered to do much artwork, but I did do some little bugs and this kind of weird patterny background because I had to get something done. This was the same day. I tried out using my palette knife, this one actually, and I found it gave some really good textures, but I think the colours I used were all wrong. It's a lot darker than what I actually like. I prefer lighter palettes than this. So it was good to experiment, but I'm not really happy with it. This was, again, both done on the same day. I decided I wanted to start doing some more full body figure drawing, just because I don't do a lot of it. And I just feel you can get a lot more emotion in a piece when you've got a full body figure. So I thought I'd draw out some of those. This was another post on Instagram where I was doing a with reference versus without reference. So I did without reference first and then I did it with reference, and obviously you could clearly see, hey, I need to work on this sort of stuff. So I then proceeded to the next day drawing out just the mouth and nose portion of the face so I could practice the way that should work, and honestly it's really helped. I have improved with that. This one I genuinely really like, this portrait. I actually really like that. This was a different day, again drawing without any reference, just like fun and silly, nothing too major. And these are pencil sketches. Now this is when I first started using a mechanical pencil. Guys, it's amazing. Mechanical pencils are so good, and I don't know why I put them off for so long, but I genuinely really love them. Let me try and zoom in just because, right, so both of these are tiny little figures and I am just so happy with it, and like all the tiny little details of like the hand and everything. I was honestly so impressed with myself, but I was super scared to put any paint or colour on it in case it wrecked it, so I've just left them completely as pencil sketches. I'm actually going to do both of these slightly larger in my bigger sketchbook and put some paint and stuff on, but keep it as a full body figure, just because I really did enjoy both of these. Then something a bit more different. So this was on the 20th, so this is my day off, and Damien had taken me to see Cirque du Soleil, and oh, it was amazing. It was so beautiful. I loved all of it. And so I decided to kind of do a weird little outfit, because they had these things where some of the performers were wearing like fish heads on top of their head, so you couldn't see their head, you just saw the fish head. It was really unusual, so I decided to do like a similar sort of fish style wrap on top of her head. But it was a really good show, and this is kind of what I came up with. And then I also did these, but by this point I had a headache and I couldn't really bother to focus. I still used the palette knife for this, but I just preferred it because it was more of a nicer, softer palette than for what I actually like, and it meant that all the little foliage and stuff actually showed up properly. So yeah, I was quite pleased with this one. This was a morning before work. I wanted to practice, again, no reference faces, so, and I also wanted to, for some reason, do some potion bottles, so I decided to combine the two and did different potion bottles for different things. This is the only one that I used reference for. All the others were done without reference, so I feel a lot more confident in working without reference for faces. Just feel I've got a better understanding of the proportions and everything, so I was really pleased with this. some little landscapes. So I started it before work and then I had to finish it after work because obviously acrylic paint needs time to dry, and I don't have that long in the morning, so I have about a 40-minute window where I can sit down and do some artwork. So that helped me get all the base colours down, and then I just refined it all when I got home. But yeah, I do enjoy drawing landscapes, well, painting them I should say, although I still need to work on these clouds. Like, I don't understand. Clouds and me, we just don't go. Again, some more full body figure drawing. This time I decided to put a bit of paint around the outside of them just so that they pop a bit more off the page. But yeah, I like both of those actually. Drawing some cats is similar to the style that I did with the rat page. I wanted to practice cats. I really like how this one turned out and this one, but for some reason, unless they're upside down, I'm not very good at drawing their heads. So don't know why, but there we go. Something I can keep working on. And then this brings us to what I've done today. So today, again, I started off the day with some full figure drawing. I really couldn't get the face right on this one, so I just kind of did a little, as you can see, the lines of where everything should go, but I didn't actually bother doing anything too much, and I just used some neon paint around these two. And then I started doing some, so I play Magic the Gathering. It's a really fun card game. For those of you that don't know it, go check it out. If you know it, you already know how cool it is. But I wanted to do some alternative art on some of the cards that I've got, just because that's something that I've always been interested in doing. And one of the cards are called Slivers, and they basically work like a hive mind. So I thought, well, that would be fun to actually change the artwork to bees and have something, because again, they work in a hive. You have your bee queen, they have a sliver queen. It just kind of worked. So I've got two of the sliver cards, and I thought before I just start drawing on them in the Posca pens, I wanted to practice what I would do with them. So yeah, I've left myself a spare one just in case I want to do it, because I drew round the edges of the card to give me the right size in. But it's a project that I really want to do. So fingers crossed you'll be seeing more of that in the next few months. And this was the final spread that I did today. So again, just finishing off with some portrait art. I'm really impressed with how this one came out. I really like the facial expression and everything on this one. This one, honestly, there's something not quite right about it, and I'm sure I'll figure it out, but for now I'm happy to leave it as it is. And that is everything. Okay, so that's it. We're done for this sketchbook tour. Now I am working on my larger sketchbook, which if you saw my very first sketchbook tour, you would have seen that. It's almost, probably almost done is a bit generous, but hopefully in the next couple of months we'll have that up here as well. For now, I'll catch you in next week's video. Again, if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe.